you for tuning in into my channel where you find all about mixed media, art journal, collage, assemblage and anything else that sparks my interest. Hi, my name is Grob and I'm glad you are here.
Hey all, talking about creative chaos? Yep, that's what it is right now. I usually do clean up before I film, but I thought for once I'm gonna show you how it also can look like too sometimes. I was talking about lately often about making my own stamps, and that's what I have so far. So like 2 or 3 days ago I got my stamps and started playing with it. I have also somewhere like this one an already finished project, which is probably going to be after this video. I'm not sure yet, we'll figure that out. Anyway, I thought I'm gonna show you a little bit how I use those stamps. As you can see, I have already started cutting them apart. I'm gonna sell them as whole sheets, so sheet 1, sheet 2. And then, yeah, I did receive mine and I did start already cut them apart. And I do mount them on somewhere underneath here on this EZ mount stamp and store system. I like the static cling back, and it's really a very sticky double-sided thingy, so when you release the white paper you have that what sticks on your block, on your acrylic block, and on this side here is the glue that holds on your rubber stamps. They are rubber stamps. I prefer rubber stamps because sometimes I do stuff which is really hot, like pressing into hot embossing, melted embossing powders. I might want to make sure that it stays how it is. Now I have the luxury that I can choose to have them either mounted or unmounted. Depending on what I'm doing, I prefer them mounted to really stamp. If I want to press in, or if I want partial stamping, I like it as a loose thingy. There is like a tack and peel outside, out in the market, where you can add your naked rubber stamps on it and it acts a little bit like that, but it is reusable. I do have it somewhere, but anyway. So, and it is really easy. I mean, I do have those already mounted. Let's look for something that's not mounted. That's mounted already too. Like this one, I haven't mounted that yet. I know that for sure. That is mounted already. I can't use that. Let's try those thingies here. I don't need that because that's the production number, which I don't need. So I cut it roughly, just with a simple scissor, nothing fancy. And it doesn't matter if I have to go close because I still have some words here. Dream big and scribble. That's what I have here. And I like to cut it pretty close, so I don't get accidentally any ink where I don't want it. Those static cling mountain foam is available on Amazon, I believe. That's, at least that's where I did order it. So I'm not sure if that piece is, no, that's too big. Okay, I'm gonna try it with this one. So I take it off the release paper, put it on here. The only thing I have to say, you have to clean your scissors afterwards because this thing is really sticky. And again, I go as close as I can so it doesn't stamp the background. I only want the raised areas. And And that's all what it is to it. Now I have my acrylic block here, and I do have scraps of paper. And now I can stamp. Just give the ink a little bit time to release. Do it the right way. So that's what is to the mounting. Now I'm gonna make me a little bit room, and then I'm gonna work on an actual project. And I'm working in a sample booklet for Strathmore papers. I have already gessoed some pages. That was actually a sketch paper. So I did add, those were mixed media papers, and here I have added some self-adhesive canvas, and I want to fill that up with my own things. So like in the watercolor sections I'm gonna add watercolors, but of course I have to add like a watercolor ground here because I don't want that. So that's what I'm working in. It's not a specific magazine or journal, it's just what I had on hand. And I always keep those release papers for other projects, and I don't think I need that. Okay, I will be back when I have cleaned up my area and you actually can see what I'm doing. First thing I'm gonna do, as I said, I did gesso that. I'm gonna add some color, and I use just the roller brayer. And while it is still somewhat damp, I'm gonna add some blue through a stencil, and I'm gonna use the roller again just to give a more non-regular appearance. That's what I want to say. Okay, that's my background, and I'm actually grabbing some papers. Okay, time to add a little bit neon or fluorescent or hot green, whatever you want to call it. And all those neon fluorescent colors are very transparent, so you're gonna actually see what's underneath. Okay, I do have leftover papers from some, it's a watercolor paper, it's all watercolor paper, no mixed media. If I cut pieces, I keep the scraps, and when I have leftover paint, like with this paper over here, I just slap on color. And now I want to use it for this here. I think I have to do it in 2 steps. That are some birds and quotes I have on my stamp, and I do leave them together as much as I can and rather cut the paper. If you want it stamped directly onto something, you obviously have to cut it apart. That's what I wanted to say. I rarely do that. I find it easier making little pieces of paper and then add to my project. As usual, give it a little bit of pressure, but not like a ton. Rather leave it long enough so that the ink has time to transfer. Let's see what it looks like. Dream big. And I did use different type of fonts. Some fonts are already distressed, like this are distressed. The rest I just put in. I have here a box already with pieces. So you never know. Sometimes when you are in a hurry you just can grab stuff. But I also want my... And that's how I clean my stamp. I have already prepared here some magazine cutouts, and I think I go for the red here. I'm gonna make 2 pages, but the second page is gonna be time-lapse purely. It's gonna be about the same concept, but just different colors and different collage parts. And I know I don't need the head, because I'm gonna replace it with one of my heads. It is a mixed media paper. You can use different things to color in, and I think I go for the Derwent ink tints, which I then blend with the water tank brush. The only problem I have with the Derwent ink tints, the color doesn't show really well on those ends, so I have to check that I get my amber. That's what I'm looking for her face. Some red for her lips, and maybe I add just the tiniest bit of, that's a hot pink from Faber, from the Lyra series. Just giving her some cheeks. And I also add a little bit into the lips, and I'm actually gonna zoom it in. I think that's much better. Yeah, here we go. Then those are water soluble, so I'm gonna activate them later. And that's the amber. Maybe I'm gonna in with a little bit of dusky purple to give a little bit of shading. And the hair, I'm probably gonna do some golden yellow for her hairs. I'm gonna make her to a blondie. I did leave the nose pretty white, and now let's see here the red. I think I want a little bit more red here. I think I'm gonna stamp them directly. Now, again, I'm gonna put some fun foam underneath, just to give a little bit more cushion. It's just easier to stamp that way. It is a very textured paper, so sometimes to get clear stamp isn't that easy. But it's actually not bad. Seems to be at the end, this guy. Now, white or no white, that's the question. I think no white for this one, but now I also do have those guys here. I'm not sure, would be helpful if you take off the release paper. Just saying. It's funny, the texture from the paper gives other dots. So it's a totally difference whether I have a smooth paper or like this one is really heavily textured. But I like having two versions with the same stamps. And I think I'm gonna go wrong. It's not the same black, the postcard acrylic pen and the stays on ink. And that bugs me. You probably don't see it, it's just me. And did you see, I didn't glue down the wing completely. I do that very often. It gives more movement for my feeling, for my taste. And I'm looking for a nice stabilo all. I want to give a little bit shading around her. And she needs a little bit of a ground. Also, she has wings, she could fly. Now I also want to add the highlight again with the white postcard pen. I like to add just a tiny small black edge before I glue that down. And for that I use a permanent marker, any brand should work. I think I like it down here, and I even go in a little bit. Now that's a heavy watercolor paper, so I actually gonna use a tacky glue. Those was a light mixed media paper, this too, and the magazine paper is anyway thin, but this is a heavy watercolor paper, so I feel more secure, comfortable with the tacky glue. And now onto this page. I haven't decided yet, but I think I'd like this one. Again, that's on heavy watercolor paper, and what I sometimes do, I try to split the paper so I can stick it down a little bit better. There's always the risk that you ruin your piece, but it actually works pretty well. Here we go, much better. I think this time I'm not gonna activate it with water. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. You don't have always to activate it with water. Okay, here we are with 2 art journal pages where I incorporated my own stamps. This was, by the way, also one of my own stencils. I do cut them on an electronic cutter, but as I said, I'm thinking about having them professionally done with some laser cut Milo foils. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you soon again. Take care, bye!